Mike and I used to go play hockey every winter around here. You cannot play hockey on the lakes around here anymore. And we know what kind of summer we just went through. And I agree that one summer doesn't make a global climate change, but it does fit the pattern. So we need to do something about that. Once we know our facts and we give them their due, we need to do the ethical thing. And I think that is stop emitting. And so I favor a cap of these emissions, and so that you can buy a right to emit only up to a certain level. And if you can be more efficient and even get underneath your cap, you can sell that, or you can trade that to someone who's going over there. So it's like a marketplace, and it's efficient. This is what has happened with acid rain in the Northeast, and it has proven successful, and all of the parties agree it's been successful. The acid rain is diminished. The utilities companies thought the cap and trade was the best policy, and it's worked out. If we cannot get to a cap and trade, which the House did pass a bill, by the way, on cap and trade in the first 2 years of Obama's administration, if we can't get to that, a direct tax on emissions is necessary. And by the way, I just talked to a guy yesterday who's going to start working for Exxon in Dallas, and he says that Exxon is, if among the two, they would favor a direct tax on emissions. I will stop there on climate change and see if there's any questions or comments you guys might have. Okay, well, let's go on and talk about health care. We have a huge problem with health care. Imagine back on the Illinois prairie, 150 years ago, a guy gets appendicitis. Well, that's too bad. There's no surgery. There's no one understands it back then. The thing I mention him though, because how much of his income went to health care? I mean, there might have been a doctor in a small town far away. I mean, he's paying for his transportation with his horse. He's got his crops to pay for, or whatever. He's got his. Hardly any of his income has to go to paying for his health care. Now let's go fast forward to 1950 in the United States. The prescription for heart disease in 1950 in the United States was bed rest. So let's look at how much is this guy in 1950 paying for his health care. Not that much. Bed rest doesn't cost that much. As a matter of fact, in today's dollars, in 1950, the average American spent $500 on their health care. So now come to today, and we have all of this technology, but if we want to use it, it's going to crowd in on our transportation. It's going to crowd in on the money that we have for other things, and it's not welcome, really. I mean, no one wants to have a problem with their liver or their pancreas. But now we can treat it. We can do something with it or have surgery. But that money's got to come from somewhere. It's got to come out of what you used to spend on your home instead of a new addition for your house. I mean, we're talking a lot of money here. And so just as it would impact your personal finances, through Medicare, it's impacting the rest of our budget. And it's crowding, it's pushing into everything else that we spend. And the United States has managed to come up with a system where we are uninsured about 45 million, and we're paying more than all the other nations. So we need to learn the way other nations have done a better job of covering all of their citizens and paying a lot less for it. And I was just reading about the Mayo Clinic as a good example of what you can do to get your costs down, and they're saying that they emphasize that if you want to work for the Mayo Clinic, which is of course a stellar healthcare provider, you need to put the patient first, and not doctor's convenience, and not the revenue that's coming in. We're here to put the patient first. And what happens is a lot of times they say they get these smart guys and they get them together and they start thinking about what to do with this patient. And what happens is you get more thinking and less testing, because they're figuring it out. They're not just saying, well, let's try this test or let's try that test. So, I mean, we do have some examples of how to do this right. There's the group in Fort Collins, Colorado, right with the T-shirt.